Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. As United States-Russia talks on ending the Ukraine war are set to begin, Tuesday in Saudi Arabia, President Donald Trump's administration has signaled a dramatic shift in foreign policy, offering key concessions to Russian President Vladimir Putin that have rattled America's traditional allies and raised concerns over the future of European security. The talks, hosted by Saudi Arabia, come amid a flurry of conflicting statements from Trump aides, fueling fears that the United States president may prioritize a deal with Putin over the interests of Ukraine and its European allies. The absence of European nations from the negotiations, despite their critical role in enforcing sanctions and providing security guarantees, has triggered alarm across the continent. French President Emmanuel Macron has called an emergency meeting Monday with leaders of Germany, Britain, Italy, Poland, Spain, the Netherlands and Denmark, as well as top officials from the European Council, European Commission and NATO, to address the growing crisis in transatlantic relations. Trump's recent overtures to Putin mark a stark departure from decades of United States foreign policy. The president has sought to rehabilitate Putin's international standing, even suggesting Russia's return to the G8 grouping of industrialized nations after its expulsion over the 2014 annexation of Crimea. Trump's apparent sympathy for Putin's rationales for the Ukraine invasion and his willingness to exclude European allies from peace talks have further strained relations with NATO partners. On Sunday, Trump hinted at an imminent meeting with Putin, telling reporters in Florida, "We're moving along. We're trying to get peace with Russia, Ukraine, and we're working very hard on it." However, his vague assurances that Ukraine would be involved in the process have done little to assuage concerns in Kiev, where President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed to reject any decisions made without Ukraine's participation. The Trump administration's messaging on Ukraine has been inconsistent, adding to the uncertainty. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who will lead the United States delegation in Saudi Arabia alongside National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, emphasized that any serious negotiations must include Ukraine and European nations. Marco Rubio, VO. If it's real negotiations, and we're not there yet, Ukraine will have to be involved because they're the ones that were invaded, and the Europeans will have to be involved because they have sanctions on Putin and Russia as well. However, Trump's Ukraine envoy, Keith Kellogg, previously stated that European nations would not be part of the talks, contradicting Rubio's stance. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also sparked controversy by suggesting that a peace deal would not include a path to NATO membership for Ukraine and that no U.S. peacekeeping troops would be involved. European leaders are deeply concerned that Trump's approach could legitimize Russia's illegal invasion and impose an unfavorable deal on Ukraine. Polish Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski criticized Trump's call with Putin as a mistake that vindicated the Russian leader and undermined morale in Ukraine. Radek Sikorski: "When President Trump says as part of a deal there will have to be European troops, we will have to be asked to supply them, so sooner or later we will have to be involved." The Trump administration's apparent disregard for NATO's role in European security has further exacerbated tensions. Vice President J.D. Vance's searing attack on European democracy at the Munich conference, and his meeting with the leader of Germany's far-right AfD party just days before the German election have added to the unease. The choice of Saudi Arabia as the venue for the talks underscores the kingdom's growing influence in global diplomacy. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who shares a close relationship with both Trump and Putin, has positioned Saudi Arabia as a key player in Middle Eastern affairs and beyond. A source close to the Saudi court told CNN that hosting the talks would enhance the kingdom's prestige and demonstrate its ability to mediate on one of the world's most pressing issues. As the talks unfold, the stakes could not be higher for Ukraine and its European allies. While most foreign policy experts acknowledge that Ukraine is unlikely to regain all the territory seized by Russia, Trump's willingness to negotiate without European input risks weakening the Western position and emboldening Putin. Radek Sikorski: "The credibility of the United States depends on how this war ends, not just the Trump administration but the United States itself." With European leaders scrambling to respond to Trump's unorthodox approach, the outcome of the Saudi talks could reshape the geopolitical landscape, potentially cementing Putin's territorial gains and further fracturing the transatlantic alliance. Please like and subscribe to Everyday News.